Hey, welcome back to Garden Rose. I know it's been a minute since I've posted a video, so I wanted to catch you up on everything that we've been doing. I am still very much so pregnant, and a lot of the last few months has really been just getting ready for our baby's arrival and finishing up some last minute projects, which I want to bring you along with some of them today. So my husband was joking around that my nesting is making a bunch of food and putting it in the freezer for later, and it's true. I've been doing a lot of that. So my freezer is very much full and I need to do something about it or I won't be able to fit anything else in there. So I thought that with having a freeze dryer, I can use it to my advantage and put some of the stuff that I've had in the freezer, make it freeze dried so I don't have to keep it in the freezer anymore. And I thought that I would bring you along to show you what I took out of the garden, because I don't think I filmed any harvesting videos of all of my peppers. I did get some, the first couple batches of peppers that I harvested, I definitely brought you along with, but towards the end there, it just became chaos and I just needed to get the peppers out of the garden before it froze over. So habanadas, I got 3-gallon bags full of them, and these are already frozen. They've been in my freezer for a while. They are whole, so I might need to make a little slit in them or maybe cut the tops off. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I thought I would freeze dry these. And then the habaneros, I have a couple bags of those as well. So I did already make a few batches. Let me grab it. Last year, I found a recipe for habanero beer mustard that we really enjoyed. So I wanted to make that. I found just a recipe with just habanero mustard. I didn't use the beer this time, but I tried a habanada version of it too. So I have both habanada and habanero mustards. So I already used some of them for these recipes. I have maybe 4 of each jars. And I made a habanero peach hot sauce made of, honestly, maybe 3 quarts worth of that. So I definitely already have gone through a lot of habaneros, and these are just the ones that are kind of left over. So I think freeze drying them will work out pretty well, and then whatever I want to use them for, throw them in some things. I'll get to that when I get to that, but I think getting them out of the freezer is going to be a really good thing. I also got these silicone molds, and inside is sweet potato puree. So I'm already getting a little, making my own baby food. But the sweet potatoes came out of the garden, and I had a bushel basket worth of them. I had them in that wine barrel towards the end of my garden space and just kind of let that go. And yeah, filled up a bushel basket full of sweet potatoes with those. So these are pretty good size cubes, and I filled up 3 of them with the sweet potato. I just said sweet potato. I filled up 3 of them with the sweet potato puree. So Ooh. So I have to take them out of these molds so that I can use the molds again. I have some carrots that I might make a puree, or I don't really know. I want to have these molds ready to go for the next one. So I can just put these in a Ziploc bag and have these ready to go in the freezer. So they're going to stay frozen, but I do have to take them out of these molds. And then so after these are going through the freeze dryer, I do still have all the red onions that I took out of the garden. I don't know the current state of them. They've been in the garage this whole time, so I'm hoping that a lot of them are still okay. If I come across some that are not good, I am kind of expecting that. But I did go through and just felt one the other day, and it seemed like it was still firm and solid. So I'm hoping that I didn't wait too long, and I'm hoping I can still preserve those. My plan for that is just to put those through the freeze dryer too, just to do something quick with them. And then I can always use them for whatever comes down the road and I want to use some red onion for. depending on the amount, if I fill up my freeze dryer trays, maybe I will can some and just do pickled red onions. I've seen other people do that before, and I think the texture of them is a little bit different than like just a refrigerator pickled green red onion. So it wasn't the top of my list to can them and pickle them, but if I have some left over and want to try that out, maybe I'll do that. So this is going to take a few days, especially with my current state and how slow I tend to move these days. So hang out with me and let's see what we can do to do some final prep work and really nest and get my freezer ready for baby. So I know it seems a little odd that I'm already making baby food before my baby is even here, but I wanted to use up these sweet potatoes before they went bad. I wasn't really sure how long they would last. I feel like they probably would have lasted a little bit longer, but I was excited to do this little project, so I went ahead and did it. I let the sweet potatoes roast in the oven, and then I just put them in a food processor with water until I got the consistency that I was going for. It was super easy, and I've even seen online that you can use breast milk instead of water to make it even that much more nutritious for the baby, but obviously we're not there yet, so that might be something that I try for the next batch or whatever else, whatever food comes up that I want to try pureeing. But regardless, this is super exciting to me, knowing that these sweet potatoes came out of the garden. I know exactly what's in the puree, and this will be one of the first foods that my baby eats when they're ready to start solids. So that's just getting me so excited and in the feels, but happy to have this one done and ready to go in the freezer. Now moving on to the habanadas. If you're not familiar, habanadas are just habaneros without the heat, and I'm not a huge heat spice person, so I was really excited to try these out this year. And it has been really fun to find habanero recipes and make them with habanadas instead so that I can enjoy them a little bit more, because they're really sweet and there's still a little bit of a kick, but I can manage it. So I'm really happy that I grew these, and all the habanadas that you're seeing came from 2 plants. So I definitely got a lot, and I don't need this much. Clearly, I'm trying to figure out what to do with them. So I think I'll only do 1 plant in the future, just knowing how prolific they are. But, definitely will grow it again. Maybe not next year, because I'll probably still have these, but the next time that I grow them, I want to remember that 1 plant is enough. So I'm putting these all on the freeze dryer trays. I did cut the tops off because it was pretty easy to cut them off. Same with the habaneros here. I was concerned that they might be too frozen to cut easily, and I just wanted to make sure that there was an opening for better airflow throughout the pepper in the freeze dryer, and I think that worked out pretty well. You'll see when I take them out of the freeze dryer a little bit later that some of them weren't quite done. I did have to put them in for more time, which I think that's the first time freeze drying anything that I've ever had to do that, like put them back in for a longer period of time. So I did that, let them go a little bit longer, and majority of them were all good. The ones that were still a little bit gummy, I just kept aside and saved those for another recipe. I didn't fit all 3 of those habanada bags and both of the habanero bags onto the freeze dryer trays. So what I did with the rest of it is actually just make a plain hot sauce. I mentioned that I had made the habanero peach hot sauce before. This time I just went with a basic like habanero, some carrots, some onion, whatever else the recipe called for. But just basic habanero and basic habanada, and I have quite a lot of hot sauce that I will be showing you here in the clip pretty soon as well. So that's what I did with all these peppers. I'm planning on giving a lot of that hot sauce away too, because now it's a made product and I don't want it to just go bad in my refrigerator. But the freeze-dried ones, I can turn those into hot sauce next year, or whatever else I want to do with them. Feels good having them preserved in this way. I can't talk enough about how much I love having this freeze dryer, just because it gives me so much peace knowing that I don't have to waste everything that comes out of the garden, because like with these peppers, I just get so much that I wasn't really expecting, or I was just really excited at the beginning of the year and planted too many plants, and I just get so much stuff that it gets to be overwhelming knowing that I might not be able to use it all, and I don't want it to go to waste. So being able to freeze dry it and save it for such a long time, and coming back to these Mylar bags of peppers, just gives me a little bit more peace of mind knowing that I'm not wasting time or energy in the garden. So that's my spiel. Here, like I mentioned, I had to put them back in, and this is the final time that they're coming out a lot better. So I did take them out this time, and you'll see the hot sauce coming up. So just enjoy these clips. Here's the part where I'm putting the oxygen absorbers into the Mylar bags of freeze-dried food. And this part in the process always makes me so, I don't want to say anxious, but I feel like I'm on such a tight timeline, and I have only, so many seconds to take the oxygen absorber out of its bag, put it into the Mylar bag, and seal it up. So if anyone has any tips on how you do this quickly, or if there's a better way to kind of do this whole process, please leave a comment and let me know, because this part, it just stresses me out a lot, and I feel like I'm wasting so much time, but I don't know how else I can do it. So oxygen absorber tips, very much welcome. Will you push that down? Okay. Yeah. Here's all that hot sauce with the leftover peppers that didn't fit on the freeze dryer trays. You can see it's quite a lot. And finally, onto the onion project that I have been putting off forever. I only had maybe 2 onions that actually weren't good. The rest of them stayed really firm. They look great. So I was very excited that I didn't have all these go to waste. You can see I tried using the mandolin. I used it for a few of them, but honestly, I've had too many cuts on my fingers to want to do this for the whole time. So eventually I just use a knife and cut them as thin as I can, get them all onto these freeze dryer trays. And I did talk about maybe trying out pickled red onions in a canner. I didn't end up doing that. I did have quite a few onions left over that didn't fit on the freeze dryer trays, and I just diced those up with my KitchenAid dicer. It went by really quick, and then I just flash froze them and put them into a bag in the freezer. So not necessarily achieving my goal of getting my freezer emptied out and ending up, putting more things into it, but I'm okay with that, because to slice all these onions really thin for pickled onions, I didn't really have the energy to slice them all up that way. this alone made my hands smell like onions for days. So I just didn't want to touch them anymore. I wanted to be able to throw them in my KitchenAid and have that dice them for me. So I just picked convenience over anything else. But these freeze dried really well. They didn't take nearly as long. I thought they would take longer than the peppers. And looking back, obviously, that was probably just a bad guess because obviously the peppers were holding on to a lot more moisture than the onions. But I, for some reason, was expecting these to take a long time. They were really quick and they dried amazingly. So again, into Mylar bags, into storage, and I'll use these whenever I figure out what I want to do with them. So lots of frozen red onions, lots of sliced freeze-dried red onions. I am set. Probably don't need to grow them again next year, but these were really fun to grow, so I might still. We'll see how energetic I'm feeling. But regardless, I have a lot more of food stored up now in my little pantry area down here, and I'm feeling very proud of that. All right, well, I figure why not end this video in the room where I'm going to be spending a majority of my time in the near future. Sneak peek into our cute little nursery that we've been working on updating and designing and putting together. Thanks for spending some time with me while I finished up those last few projects that I really wanted to get done. We're playing a little waiting game now, so there's plenty of more small things to do that I'll just putz around and wrap up for the year. But these were the bigger things that I really wanted to get off my plate so that I could feel more free to just focus on other things. So happy to have those checked off. Appreciate you all for watching, and hopefully we will have an exciting update for you soon. And heading into next year for the garden is going to be busy and chaotic, but hopefully all the more fun and exciting as well. So we will see you then. Bye.